Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment, New Year's Eve. I am Steve. I got Rodriguez right down there. Keith is running a little bit late. I got Mr. Producer Joe to my left. Boom. There we go. Plenty to talk about in a limited amount of time because we got a doubleheader today. The New York Giants show is going to come on after this on the Pop Culture Pros Network. So, in the absence of Keith, I will pass it over to our illustrious producer Joe to talk about Brooklyn Water Coffee Roasters.
Illustriously, I would say this segment is being brought to you by Brooklyn Water Coffee Roasters.
Go on.
I'm trying to give you time for it. You complain every week.
I don't complain every week.
All right, from their roastery to your front door. Only the finest beans from all over the world. So enjoy a big cup of, what are the choices? There are many choices. Drunken Pig. Drunken Pig. That's my nickname from high school. Dark roast, dark chocolate. No calories. Full of rich chocolate flavor. Chicken and waffles. Medium roast. Hands down, the most popular coffee. Blends of coffee. Steve Rodriguez, nickname, Jacked Up Cupcake. And all of these delicious flavors come with zero.
Yes.
Wow, I'm on an island here. All right, zero calories.
No,
you did it wrong.
You're supposed to ask how many calories, and then we say,
settle. Supposed to this, all right? Available, roasted to order at BrooklynWaterCoffeeRoasters.com, BrooklynWaterCoffeeRoasters.com, and as always, this buy 2 bags, get 1 free when you use the code PopCulturePros.
Get 3.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, sir. We have there's a Met and Jet fan that has joined us, Michael, Jets fan. When are the Mets getting Bauer and Springer? That's what we're wondering, but we're going to talk about that a little bit more. Do you guys want DJ LeMahieu, Walker, Han, Liam Hendricks, Arenado? We want them all, baby. We want them all.
That's the problem. That's the problem.
That is part of the problem, Rodriguez. All right, so Tim, yes, Keith is slacking. He's in traffic somewhere, and we don't condone, hosting a show while driving on I-95. So we'll let him be safe, so we can have him for next year. But he might jump on at some point.
Listen, he has enough problems sitting at home and doing the show. Okay. Let alone in traffic.
The light, it'll throw him.
Pretty lights.
All right.
I like pretty lights.
So here's where I think that we should start here, and it is it's pretty fascinating.
How
when you
fascinating
think of,
is it?
So fascinating. Producer Joe got Brian Hump sucks.
All the time.
So here's something interesting, right? So last week on the show, I mentioned the possibility of the Mets going with maybe 1-year contracts because next year, and we rattled through of the all-star of all-stars that are going to be free agents next year. And then Keith said, I wouldn't mind overpaying for 1 year for Bauer. So I said, that's probably about $38 million for a year. And no, that wasn't very warmly welcomed. But yesterday, we got some news, out there from people that in the ether, right? Or what is it in Stranger Things? The
Underworld. What was it?
Under something.
Over.
Oh,
under.
We're going to turn this into a gambling show. That's the next show. That's the Giant show.
That's here we go.
The Upside Down.
The Upside Down. Okay.
Thank you, Producer Joe. See?
Yep.
Right on top of it. All right.
There you go.
So we hear this stuff yesterday come out where, Bauer's looking for 5 years or 6 years, somewhere between 35 and 40 million a year.
According to John Heyman.
So now, today, you start seeing these headlines and people talking on Twitter and Facebook, absolutely turning on this guy. What do you think, Rodriguez?
Did you see the Twitter thing between his agent and John Heyman and Trevor Bauer? All three of them.
I didn't see the Trevor Bauer part.
The Trevor
what
Bauer
did Bauer
part was
say?
like, he's basically saying, dude, you're just saying stuff out. You're just saying stuff, basically. You don't know what you're talking about. He goes, I asked her to reply, and she didn't reply. And there was a whole bunch of little nonsense. But it's the game they're playing. I mean, I don't know why anyone can get upset about this. This is the game. Bauer wants more money. The teams don't want to give out as much money. So they fight about it until they come to some kind of compromise. I personally, I know we have all the money in the world right now, supposedly, but I personally can't see paying Bauer $36 million per year. That's $7 million more than DeGrom, is it? I believe.
Which is absurd.
Which is it's insane. And if we don't take Bauer because of that, I'm happy with that. Because we could take that money and put it to other use. We could get Liam Hendricks, try to get Liam Hendricks, sign him. We could sign a Redozy. That gives us a pretty decent pitching staff. They've already made Trevor Mayer a Met. He's a really good reliever, man. And the guy that they got, Sam McDonald, the guy that they signed through the minors. Everyone was trying to get that guy. He has the upside is fantastic. High 90s, 97 slider. He can be a sort of like a second Lugo, a guy that can go and be a spot starter and pitch a lot of innings in the bullpen. So they're slowly doing a lot of stuff, the Mets. So Bauer, $36 million for me, I'm not biting on that one.
I mean, it's just an example of how overnight things can just flip, right? So.
Sure.
But we all knew that Trevor Bauer was this guy who talks and talks and talks and talks. We just, the conversation that we've had at least is, will he, if he signs a big long-term deal, even if it's a 1-year deal, $35 million, throwing that out there, can he back it up?
Watch your stinking mouth, Faraci, because your mouth is gonna get us paying $35 million for this guy.
But we've always been at the point where is this guy be able to back it up, or or can he move from his talk to what if he starts out 2-5 with a 4.50 ERA?
After the contract is signed, and that's it. It's a done deal. He's going to get the money, and he's going to try to put in the work. Everything else falls in the hands of the God that you don't believe in, and a lot of hard work from Trevor Bauer. So that's the reality. I mean, if any Met fan thinks otherwise, and they want to live in this fantasy world, see, there's different types of fans, man. There's fans that are living in fantasy Mets world, and then there's fans that are in the business side of Mets world. And those fans, they don't see eye to eye because the fantasy guys think we're gonna sign everybody and we're gonna trade everybody and everything's gonna be crazy, great, fantastic. It's a tough sell.
Yeah, and Cohen already came out and said, look, the Padres have been out there building up their farm system, and that's why they can pull off 2 trades of the magnitude that they pulled off in getting Snell and Darvish in the same day. They also grabbed Kim, who was the Korean second baseman that we were also looking at. Jem talking in the comments saying 35 for 1 season. I'll do it just to get over with. I mean, are we? Is it disrespectful to pay more than DeGrom's body of work versus Bauer's body of work? Of course, yeah. It's me and you, baby. It's me and you, baby.
I'm going to be really upset if they pay him more than DeGrom. But I understand the last guy coming in makes more money than the incumbent. I've been in the business world all my life. That's pretty much how I've seen it go. It happens. However, this is not the real business world. This is the sports world where it's business and fantasy mixed in together. So they're going to have to do a little bit something for the Degrominator. Because I guarantee you, if he comes in making more than the Degrominator, he's getting another Cy Grom. You notice it's Cy Grom. You know that, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's the new name for it because he's gonna get this one. This one he's gonna get this one because he's gonna have a lot of help. Oh, it's gonna be such a great season. Let's not talk about the season yet.
All right, catching up. Tom Bohan says Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas back to you.
Tom.
Bauer is on drugs, says Tim. I mean, asking for $240 million over 6 years. That's
That's
a lot of
listen, it's a lot of cabbage.
It's all coin.
It's a lot. It's a lot of money, man. And to be real, there's guys out there as free agents that have the career credentials that he has, and some of them have better career credentials.
Yeah.
They have a better ERA, they pitch more innings, they've been in more tough situations. There's a lot of guys out there in the free agent that. And if we were to sign them, our fans would lose their mind because it's not Trevor Bauer. But there's a few guys, and I looked them up. Honestly, I wish I could remember one of them right now. But for a fact, there is a few guys. Orodosi's one guy that could cost us a lot less money and still be a very effective pitcher for us because our bullpen is strong. And if we use the Orodosi and Liam Hendricks, we go for those two guys, we make the team overall way better. That will be a fantastic offseason, dude. I mean, let's be real.
I'm all in on Hendricks.
Even without Springer, because honestly, offensively, I think we're an offensive pitching team. We're not going to be a defensive team, really, at the end of the day, unless we bring up the young kids that we have in the minors. That was that lefty kid that's supposed to be fantastic and runs around. Petey Moranovich. PDP Moranovich.
We make up names here.
Something like that. The kid is fantastic. He's a lefty. He's supposed to be a really fantastic player, a 5'2" center fielder. And he's a white kid. Imagine that.
He's a whitey.
He's a white guy.
So you've heard me talk on the show plenty of times about how I don't get, holding on to the prospects and hoping that they establish into something else.
Okay.
And it's nothing against what you just said. I'm all good with that. The giving guys a chance, but in a case with the Padres 5 years ago, they were up there trying to get all these prospects for all these guys, and now they got all the prospects, and they turned it into a Cy Young Award winner in Snell. They turned into a Cy Young candidate in Darvish. They got Clevenger over the winter, and they got that douche that likes to start
the
shit
sheriff?
with we don't call him the sheriff.
Isn't that his name, the sheriff?
I don't care what his name is. He's
I don't
the douche
know
that
his
starts
real name.
Paddock.
Okay.
So it is what it is there, where they grabbed all their prospects, and I think that's where kind of Steve Cohen was going there. They padded up their prospects, so they brought in a few guys,
but
Machado and these guys.
Here's the thing: you have to suck for a few years to get those prospects. So that's where the different fan bases come in. That's where in Mets world in New York, you can't do that. It just doesn't happen. In San Diego, they sucked for years, stocking up on low high picks. So their farm system builds up a lot faster than ours will. I mean, right now we got two guys in the top 100. Who are the guys? The catcher Alvarez. And the shortstop Mauricio. Two guys, and they're 57 and 58, I think, man, in the top 100. That's it. Our farm system is very young. Well, it's very young. That's the whole thing. We have a lot of really, really young talent. So they're not rated yet. They haven't really come in to become anything. So that's what we have to build up to be able to trade for guys like the Padres did. Right now, I'm okay with buying everybody. I'm okay with just shelling out the money for free agents.
Yes.
If you got to give them a low end draft pick, whatever. That's what it is. What it is. But right now, at this time frame, within the next 3 years, buy the guys and try to get a championship out of them. Maybe you could steal one. The Marlins did. They stole 2 championships and then disbanded the team the year after. They're crooks.
Well, if that happened in New York, I don't know if we've ever spoken about it in the show, but if that ever happened in New York, where we just paid all this money in free agents and then traded everybody, the stadium would be gone.
It would be on cinder blocks.
It would cease to exist. Exactly.
They would put Citi Field on cinder blocks and take everything from the inside of it. All the radios.
Yes, all gone.
All gone.
All right, and you mentioned Sam McDonald a little earlier, and he's an interesting guy because he's a hard thrower, like you said. He could be a Lugo, and the fact that all these teams, 15 to 16 teams, were going after him on major league contracts when he's never cracked into the major leagues is weird, but also really fascinating. The fact that all these teams think that this guy is the real deal, and he took a $700,000 contract from us.
That's the point. You see that? Yeah. A guy like that can just blow up. You lose somebody in the rotation, he steps in, does a 5-7 game stint in the rotation, goes 4-2. Right then and there, he's fighting for a rotation spot the next year. If not, keeps that rotation spot till the end of the year. That's how talented supposedly he is.
Yeah,
and he has a 97 mile an hour fastball.
Right.
It's not bad, with a slider or something, another pitch, change-up, fastball, change-up, slider. You're golden, man. You can pitch 20 years.
And exactly. And, if all other things line up and Asuka continues his trend, I mean, a 1.85 ERA, you can't complain about that.
Asuka did pretty good last year, my friend.
Yeah. Except for that, the first 2 to 3 weeks, and then he was lights out. He was
on. And and he can be devastating, man, because his fastball is fast, man. He's at a 99. He's humming. He's humming.
And that disgusting slider.
Oh man, if that.
I mean, when it's not this, when it's more like.
Yeah. Well, right? it's the rate of spin down, but if it's just kind of floating away,
it's floating into the left field stands.
Major league hitter can get to it, but that quick zip that he gets, man, whoa, it's nasty stuff. There's a nasty. We right now have a pretty decent bullpen. Maybe I still want more pitching, to be honest. But the guy, we have a lefty in the minors, Zabuki. That kid Zabuki, Thomas Zabuki, I think he's called. He's a fantastic pitcher, and he might be due this year. This might be the year that he gets called up. So there's some hope. Our minor league is not the best, but you can pick and choose and get a couple of decent players up.
Yeah,
for some help
for sure. And Tom, I kind of agree with you on there because it's up and like we could be 20th right now, and then the season starts and you start seeing different things in those AAA guys and those AA guys, and all of a sudden we're 12th. So it's ebbs and flows of rankings, who's scouting them. So there's a lot to deal with.
Those guys from last year, they should have moved up a level. So if they were able to go to AA, and you're looking at AA, and that's where most of the talent, where these teams really look for most of the talent. They don't look at the AAA talent. They really look at the AA talent. So then they start ranking off of that mostly, I believe. And then they go down.
Yes. All right. So you got George Springer, who's looking for right around $150 million. That's fine for what he is, and a position player. He plays every day. That's actually not so bad.
He's gonna drop considerably as a center fielder in his 30s. Unless he's one of those physical marvels, one of those guys that are fantastic and you get lucky, like a Ricky Henderson, one of those type of guys. Right now, it's when he's going to start to decline. So $150 million for about 4 years or 5 years?
No, it's got to be more than that.
I thought it was maybe 4 or 5.
Let me take a look here. No, it just says the Mets are willing to approach $150 million for him, and it's 6 years. Is what
6 years, 150.
And the Mets are looking to say 4 years, and he's looking for 6.
Oh, and the Mets will give him $150 million for 4 years. I think that's a much better deal. I'll take 4 years. To me, the length of the contract is the bad thing here. He may want 6, but no, he's out of his mind. He's a 31-year-old outfielder playing center field. What's he going to be? 35, 36, 37. He's going to be 37 by the time the contract ends. If he gets his way, no way. You're not paying 30. You're not paying $25 million a plus for a 37-year-old center fielder.
Yeah, I don't. So he's looking for, and Jem is in the comments. Yeah, absolutely. He's looking for 6 years, about $150 million, $25 million a year. So, and sounds as though the Mets are willing to go towards $150 million, but not on the length.
Great.
So, I mean, I think at 4 years, $150 million is way overdoing it.
I think it is too. But then you're looking at the Mets and their minor leaguers. The same guy that we were talking about, Peter Porstanovich. That guy, that center fielder for the Mets, the young lefty, in 4 years, he'll be ready to step in and be the full-time center fielder for the Mets. Armstrong, I think it's P.J. Armstrong or Pete Armstrong or something like that.
B.J. Armstrong.
Maybe we'll get the name right someday. But producer Joe, help out a man here hanging himself. Find that center fielder.
Yeah,
it's Tomskanovich or Porstanovich.
It's an itch.
It's an itch.
It's an itch.
Some kind of itch.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. You gotta scratch that. All right. So now with they're talking about the Dodgers primed to.
See,
there he is.
Jem is truly outrageous. He's truly outrageous. Good job, Jem.
All right, so the rumors are out there that the Dodgers are primed to land Trevor Bauer or DJ LeMahieu.
They're trying now because Padres beefed up.
They've got to stay hand in hand kind of with the Padres out there. So and if you think about it and you think about what the Mets want to do. The Mets also have to, it's not only about winning the National League East. It's not only about making the playoffs in 2021. The expectations are going to be high, and you kind of have to say we got to match up also. So, yeah, you sign these guys and you trade for these guys in the offseason, but then you got to start looking day one. No matter when the season starts, you got to start looking at what these other guys are doing, these other divisions, just to kind of keep pace with them, and at the trade deadline, make those trades that will put you over the top. Because no longer, I mean, the Cubs look like they're trying to be like, okay, we got to save some money here. Let's Darvish is out now. These other guys are out.
They're a non-factor.
You look to the other guy. The Padres are going to be. The Dodgers are going to be there, right? So the Dodgers are what they are. The Padres, the Cardinals. The Diamondbacks are up and coming.
And forget them. We got our own division is stacked.
The Braves,
which are the Devils team anyway. No, that's not
true.
The
Braves.
The Cowboys are the Devils team. The Braves suck. But you got the Braves, you got the Nationals, you got the Marlins. They're up and coming. I mean, we have a lot of problems in our division that we need to take care of first. So we do have to keep up. You're right, Farachi. We need to buy some talent real quick to stay there, at least be in the playoff hunt. I mean, I'm okay with a year or two in the playoff hunt and then hit that stride. But I prefer it sooner than later because of the DeGrom. He'll be gone soon, God forbid. Please, Lord, give him life for the next 10 years. Make DeGrom 25 again. But anyway, I think there's a time frame that DeGrom needs to. We need to do something real quick because Cy Grom is going to peter out in the next 2 or 3 years. I'm just being logical.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you have these freaks of nature that do it until they're 42 years old, and hopefully that's it for Cy Grom. But then you got the guys who age hits them real quick, and it happens like that. So
and that's the funny thing with Cy Grom, though. I believe he's the type of pitcher, has a type of frame that he can maintain it for a good 2 or 3 years more than the normal guy. Because at the end of the day, I mean, he's increased velocity every year. I mean, the guy's throwing harder, and he's older. So it's just his motion. The more fluid he gets, the more the ball pops out. Every pitcher, when they stride, they hit you. They come like 6 feet off, right? They're like it's like a 6 feet stride. DeGrom has like a 7 foot stride, so he's a foot ahead.
He almost hits the grass.
How do you think his fastball looks? It's another foot of speed on a fastball, at least looks wise. It throws hitters
59 feet 6 inches.
59 feet 6 inches. Cy Grom. That's how you win it.
Milton, Milton, it's a new name. Welcome to the show. I trade for a damn good shortstop and bring in Francisco Lindor. I've been on board the Lindor train. But so Milton, you let us know, who would you trade for Lindor? Is this a Rosario and Nimmo and a minor leaguer? Like how does that work for you? In your dream scenario.
You're not
how do we get
DeGrom,
Lindor?
are you? This guy's gonna trade DeGrom and Noah Syndergaard.
if you put DeGrom or any of those guys, you got to get out. But okay, all right. So you hit on a couple of things that we were going to talk about. You did mention earlier. You talked about patience being a virtue. So there is patience. So there's San Diego patience, right? And then there's New York patience.
Yeah. New York patients, San Diego people will lose their minds. They run from us because to them it would be no patience whatsoever. I mean, in New York you have 1 to 2 years, and that's it. No matter what, I've never seen a New York team. I've never seen anyone be patient in New York for their teams to win. Jet fans, Giant fans, no matter what. Maybe Islander fans, but really Islanders.
Maybe Knicks fans because they've been forced to be patient for 20 years.
No, Knicks fans. Let me say something about Knicks fans, because I'm one of them. I'm disgusted. I'm decimated. I don't even know what he's done to our beautiful franchise of Patrick Ewing and it was a beautiful thing.
But we're loyal. We're loyal.
We're loyal
to a fault.
To a fault.
We beat the Bucks. We beat the Bucks by 20 the other night, and then the Heat lost by 47. Okay. We digress.
We do digress. But it is nice to see that happen once in a while. Not too often it's going to happen anyway.
Yes.
Tom Thibodeau. Anyway, so what was I saying? Now you got me all.
We were talking about patience between.
Yeah, New Yorkers, we don't have it. It's not a virtue for us. It's not something that you want, dude. You don't want to be New York and have patience.
I wonder if Tim is still watching. The Yankees had all that homegrown talent, 96 on the whether they were helped later on in their careers by any substance, but like Jeter and Pettit and Posada and Bernie Williams and all those guys. Hey, Craig, Happy New Year, buddy. How patient, because they were not good before that. Early 90s.
No, they weren't good, but then they had the funds. They had the homegrown talent. They brought that up, and then they had the funds to supplement.
Right.
The same thing we did in 86.
To bring in like Giambi and Brocious and those guys.
Yeah, our homegrown talents in 86, complemented by Hernandez, complemented by Gary Carter, and a guy here or there that I can't remember right now. Bob Ojeda coming in.
Hojo, baby.
Hojo coming in from Detroit, getting traded over to the Mets. So, you finagle that, but you have to have the homegrown talent first. I mean, we have it right now on the major league roster. That's the thing. And once we bring up a little bit more talent, which there might be 1 or 2 guys that you can sprinkle in and bring up. But other than that, the farm system is going to be at least 5 years before we have new talent. But so now we're going to supplement it with free agents. Bauer, Springer, Orodozzi, Hendricks. Who do you pick? Give
all
us,
of them.
That's the Met problem. That's our other subject.
No. If it's for me and this Bauer thing, I don't care. Like you guys all know that I did not want Snell, based on what we would have had to give up for him because he had one really good year. The rest of the years were so. And the same could be said about Bauer. I
didn't say anything about that. I like Snell much more than Bauer. I'll be honest with you. I've seen Snell
he's a lefty.
Pitch.
Yeah.
I've just seen him pitch. I really think he's a good pitcher. And when they took him out, and he had to walk out of that stadium knowing that he could have pitched another 1 or 2 innings and finished the game, or maybe
it could have been another Matt Harvey.
No, you don't know. You don't know that, but you want a player that wants to do that. When they take you out like that, they had to trade him in a way. You got to think about it. They broke him. He was a colt bucking. They finally broke him, and the guy was like, "I'm broken. You gotta get me out of here."
And it's another thing where could he have been? Would he have been a good fit in New York? He goes from Tampa to San Diego. We just don't know. We talk about that a lot.
Yeah, but New York takes a special breed sometimes to play
Yeah.
in New York, and it's not like we're bragging because I'm not trying to brag. It's a sad thing that you have to be extra tough to play in New York because
Yeah.
if you're not, you're gonna go home crying every night, man. Every successful player that has played on the Mets, Jets, Skankies, and all the other New York teams say it. It's a rough town. You got to be a little bit tough.
If you can make it there, make it anywhere.
Make anywhere.
Frank, what's up, buddy? Yeah, Jem saying I do like Odorizzi. I like Odorizzi also. He's spent, all his I believe all of his career in the American League with Tampa, with Minnesota. But then I don't want to say these guys are not made for New York City. But when guys come from Tampa and Minnesota, San Diego, those places, I always wonder in the back of my mind when the fans start booing, how will they react? Because that's the big thing, right? Because that's the reaction.
Tampa's East Coast. Remember that they're in the American League East, so they're in a really tough.
Hey,
there he is.
There he is. There he goes.
Sorry, gentlemen.
Hey, buddy. No, we're just happy that you're safe and you're here with us, buddy.
90 minutes of driving for a 30-minute drive.
Well, yeah.
Welcome to being a dad.
Well, hope you had fun. So yeah, we've kind of gotten into some of the free agent talk and Bauer wanting $40 million a year, $240 million contract. We talked about what Springer kind of wants. The rumors out there that he wants 6 years. The Mets want to give him potentially 4, and they're willing. So here's the missing piece on that. They're saying that the Mets are willing to go to $150 million, but I don't. If it's in 4 years, like somebody said, it's about $37.5 million a year. That's a lot of money for this guy.
And the 150 is for Bauer.
The 150 is for Springer. Bauer is looking for 6 years or 5 years, 200, 6 years, 240. So that we were kind of talking about
a lot of cash.
Rodriguez. Yeah, Rodriguez spoke about you can sign 5 other guys. For what Bauer's looking at, you can really strengthen up your bullpen with Hendricks. And Frank says, "Do you guys talk about George Springer? Because I would not give him 5 or 6 years." So yeah, is it Jem? You say 5 with a 6th? Is it 4 with a 5th year option? And the 5th year, does that turn into incentives? He
can't play it past 35 on my team. He can't be a 35-year-old center fielder on my team.
So you're thinking maybe a 4-year deal with a 5th year option, but just to complete this thought,
you might want to say it, but lie.
I do, but I was gonna say how I don't typically like options because then it becomes player versus team. You're sitting me because you don't want me to get to my option level, kind of like this douchebag number 52 that used to play for us. But Keith, let's chime in a little bit since you're late to the party. The party. Yeah, take a swig first.
So, I'll start with Bauer. Actually, I'll start from the top. Mets management. I think it's great that they're being patient and they're not trying to pull a trigger just to satisfy Mets fans. Not that they would do that, but it's what the Met fans want, and they're really sticking to their guns. Big spending doesn't mean overspending, So do you want to go buy a Lamborghini or do you want to go buy a Nissan Maxima with all the hookups attachments to it? No, you're going to buy the Lamborghini. So we're not going to go ahead and buy or pay all this money for somebody who's just not worth it. $200 million for 5 years or 6 years with Bauer, starting with him, is not worth it. I am sorry. I know a lot of people will not agree with that. That's my opinion. Yes, he is a good pitcher. Yes, he's done nothing but he's gotten better. And maybe he is reaching his prime at a late age, like some pitchers do. But I just think that's a huge risk. I think paying him more than DeGrom is sort of disrespectful. He's not.
We said that a little while ago. So glad you agree on that.
He's not even DeGrom's caliber. So that's where I'm with that. Yes, I want him, and overpaying him is going to happen, but at what the quotes that are being splashed out across the internet right now. And I don't know the source of those things and if they're even real, but
Rodriguez mentioned that there was some back and forth between the agent Bauer and Heyman today. Heyman reported it as the teams are the ones saying that. So when this type of stuff happens, you never know what to believe. But if that is the case, yeah, he's definitely that's supreme overpaying.
You know what scares me about that? Excuse me, guys. It scares me because they're talking a really good game. His agent and Bauer, they really talk like they can handle New York. But at the end of the day, are they going to chicken out and just say, "Hey, wait a minute, I can't really handle this. We're just trying to be funny."
I'm going to LA, dude.
Let me go to LA, dude. He's a California guy anyway, right? You go to LA, go to San Diego, go to somewhere else, and just use it as what is it to barter against?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, who knows? He could end up doing that. So we're having all these conversations about this guy, and he ends up just being a jerk off.
Yeah, so you have to understand, and we do, and I'm just kind of speaking for the fan base out there who may not. You have to understand, it's a game. The agents are going to shoot super high and hope to miss kind of high. So that $200 million, it may be something ridiculous. We may end up looking at 5 years, 140 million, 125 million. Who knows? I don't think he's going to get that from anybody. The only person in the past that would have paid something like that would probably be the Yankees, and they're not in that kind of market right now. So
destroy the whole system. Why don't you?
The only team that I'm kind of like concerned about, if I want to say concerned, is based off of what the Padres did yesterday. The Dodgers. The Padres grabbed Darvish, an elite pitcher. Has been top 5 in the Cy Young, top 3 last year, and they got Snell, who has won a Cy Young award. Showed the fire, like Rodriguez said in the World Series. So that's a team that might be like, oh crap! Look at the Padres rotation right now. It is loaded, and they might just go out and overpay for Bauer, and more power to them if they do, because I'm not, I don't think anybody on the show is willing to go 6 years, $240 million for Bauer, I don't know about any pitcher right now.
I'm totally okay with our competition overpaying, right? So you look at somebody like a Bryce Harper. I'm totally okay with the contract he got with the Phillies, because when he's 36 years old, he's still going to be getting overpaid, and he's going to be an anchor instead of an asset, more than likely. Now, there are some physical anomalies out there in baseball who perform well beyond those years, but it's not the norm, and it's a huge gamble to take on a contract that big.
We get burned a lot. We don't do well with those long contracts, guys. We know that.
We don't. And, and I think even further than that, doing a long contract
like that stand out
with somebody who is really 2 good years. One of them is a half year, and he has shown improvement, and he has shown maturity as a pitcher in Bauer. But based off of that, do we want to sign him for DeGrom plus money? No. I'm sorry. I think that's ridiculous.
Better than the DeGrom money. The guy wants better than Cy Grom. Yeah. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I mean that's what we were talking about before. I said Jacob DeGrom's body of work versus Trevor Bauer's full body of work. There's no comparison there. Yeah, and the same thing with Snell. That's why I was scared about overpaying trade wise for Snell.
Is it almost like a two-run ERA, right? It's almost like 2 runs, the difference between these guys. I think you're wrong on the Snell thing. I think Snell's going to be good for a few more years, man.
Really might be. But he only had the one good year to me.
I don't know if we put it on the podcast, but you guys know from my chats, I was big on Snell. I wanted him. But understandable, I'm not sure if you touched on Cohen's tweet.
Sexy talk.
We did talk about that.
I wanted a little, sexy time with Snell. No,
Snell over.
I want Snell on over. So that tweet where he was, hint, we need to replenish our farm system, guys. We can't afford. The Padres did that, so now that they have a core, they felt they can. Some of these prospects were expendable, and they can go ahead and get these pitchers.
That's the point.
Good for them, and that's where we want to get to. So that way, our major league team is good for 4 or 5 years while we are rebuilding the minors again to do it again. and again,
and then we could trade him.
Well, yeah, right. Because listen, if you're going to be able to trade a prospect, a could be for a is pitcher or player, you do it every single time, especially when you're in a playoff push or in a position the Padres are in, where they have some serious competition in their division. So, and the other thing with Springer, real quick, just to get to him, my opinion on that is 150 is way too much. Also. The guy's not even a Gold Glover. Is he a good center fielder? Yes. I don't think he's even a natural center fielder. I think he transitioned there, if I remember correctly. I think he's a corner outfielder. But
that's where he's going to end up soon. Within 2 to 3 years, he could end up in the corner. So,
and I'm sorry,
man.
Elephant in the room. You got to mention the last couple of years. I know with the 60-game season he did okay, but how many of those stats can you attribute to cheating? I know he did well on the road. I did look at those splits.
Yeah,
but you got to think that. You have to think that. I'm sorry. So you have to take a natural fall off on his numbers, especially with his age and the potential that he did cheat. So what is he going to hit? 21 home runs a year?
He did cheat.
21 home runs a year? He's going to bat 260, 21 home runs, and be a decent glove for that much money?
That's Nimmo, and it's going to cost us a lot less.
With a better arm, probably. But yeah.
And he won't say anything.
Oh, and Nimmo can't stay on the field 162 games. So that's the thing with me.
But this guy, I don't think is Springer that guy that stays on the field for a long.
He's played pretty consistently, if I remember correctly. I haven't looked at his stats,
that he doesn't play.
Right
doesn't play full seasons. Yeah, thanks, Keith. Check on that. Because I thought I read that.
You do that. As I just want to mention, Tony Tarasco is the new first base coach for the Mets.
Outfield coach too.
Yeah, he's going to be outfield and base running coach. So we had some base running blunders on on the base pad last year. McNeil.
Too many.
And
Major League.
We know we everybody who's watching this show, which we absolutely appreciate, and the guys who are on the show, producer Joe. We know how these little things can impact games and division championships. The little things I get a little tired of people saying, it's only April, it's only May. You lose this heartbreaker of a game. You were up by 3 runs, base running blunder, error here and there, and then you lose. Guess what? If you lose the division by a game, or if you miss out on the playoffs by a game, this shit in April matters. Every single game of 162 game season matters. This is not the NBA.
Take a quick look at the games we played against Minnesota in the last few years. Whenever
Minnesota.
Whenever we met them through the interleague, when we matched up each time. I think it was in 2019, right? And then again, it was probably 2016 before that. Whatever it was, 2015. They are
2019
defensive. They are fundamentally defensive sound team. And
what team is this?
Minnesota
Twins.
And they always kind of made us look. They always exposed our weaknesses, which is fundamentals. The
Braves too.
Even
I feel like the Braves are the same.
Yeah, even in the World Series team, 2015, that we lost to Kansas City, we lost due to some lack of some fundamentals. Was a big reason why we lost.
Do that, you jerk.
Of course, it was Familia and other people in the pen, but fundamentals was huge, and the Kansas City played a fundamentally sound series and exposed us. So it's huge. Fundamentals are boring. Nobody wants to hear about them. But I would say
I love them.
Yeah, I would
say baby.
It's at least 50% of the game. 50% of the time, it's 50% of the game.
But that Kansas City team, that's the type of team that can beat a powerhouse team. Not to say that the Mets were this, it wasn't the 06 Mets. But that Kansas City team, the slap hitting, the sound defense, the sound base running, sound defense, that type of Kansas City team can be the guy that could be the team that beats a powerhouse team because they do everything right.
A team's gonna beat individuals every single time. If you're playing guys, they're all playing. It's individuals. They're not really playing together. They're not setting themselves up for the next guy. They're not giving themselves up for the next guy. They're not trying to get the guy over, score runs. Give your all, and block a ball. If you're not that type of team player, you don't win championships. At the end of the day, you can try to buy championships, but that almost never works. You have to have the fundies have to be solid. You always have to have a good defense. good, decent enough hitting, but always have to have great pitching. So that's why I'm hoping the
for sure pitching wins.
Pitching,
yes.
One of the huge things, or I don't want to say huge things, but one of the key points that they spoke about in the Cohen press conference when he was introduced as the manager or owner of the team with Sandy is up the middle defense. And I don't think Springer fits that. I want Springer. I'm not saying no, right? But that kind of commitment to him, I don't think he fits that mold. And I would say, if
how about I'm in on a 4-year deal. I'm in 4 years, $100 million, or if we have to overpay a little bit, 4 years, 105. Well, I'm okay with all that.
He's 31 years old right now. He'll be 32, I think, he'll be 32 towards the end of the season. And back to Rodriguez's question, it's 2016, he played 162. So we'll start after that. 2017 and 2018, he played 140. He did 122 in 2019 and 51 games in 2020 out of 60, of course, which isn't bad. But, to me, 2020 stats is a wash. So he
can play 140 games. 140 games.
I like that.
Sounds like he gets Sundays off or something like that.
Let's say that. If he's 31 now. Okay, so he's 31. Like I said, at the end of the contract, got to be 35. That 35 is that cutoff for me.
I'm with you. We get the cutoff at 35. All right.
And how true are his home run numbers? I mean, 1 year he hits 39, and the other year he hits 22. 22, excuse me.
That happens.
Yeah,
it does.
We think somewhere in the middle there. I mean,
my point I'm trying to make, I guess, Rodriguez, is he's aging, right? Where does he really truly fall as he ages and declines? And when does that decline start?
He's gonna be high 20s, low 30s for the next year or two, maybe, and then after that, he's gonna start to decline. That's why the 4-year contract is perfect.
Yeah. But so my thought here is that you bring the guy in, bring him on a 4-year deal. If
90 mil.
Toronto, don't cheapskate us,
cheap,
Keith. 4 years. Listen, I'm willing to go with not my money. 4 years, 105, 110, pushing it. But
110 is the most.
You get this guy who let's say 25 home runs a year, good RBI guy, average so 260.
But
let's
now
say
you can trade Nimmo.
You could twofold here, right? You improve. I know that what you guys said about moving the corner outfielder, but for now you do improve the up the middle.
No,
defense.
He's a better.
He's a much better defensive player than Nimmo.
He's better.
Oh yes, he's above average. From what I've been reading.
So that helps, right? And then if you could, let's just say in a dream world here, and that's what we're living in. I have a couple more minutes here. You include Nimmo and maybe a Rosario and a minor leaguer, and you get Lindor only if he signs an extension. Now you got Lindor up the middle. You put McNeil at second base, and then you got George Springer in center field. I think that does a really good job of helping that up the middle defense. And then you got a better defensive catcher. So now the true up the middle and back and forth are improved. Am I wrong?
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. No, you're right. You do all those things, but that takes a little imagination. So you have to get Springer. You have to get Springer.
Yeah. I do want Springer.
That's step one, because you got Nimmo, then becomes the spare piece. Actually, at the end of the day, so does Dominic Smith. If you really want to Dominic Smith is a really attractive piece for a lot of teams.
Hinges on DH, right?
You can get a freaking Lindor with a Dominic Smith and a couple lower level guys, because he's a good player. So there's a lot of guys that we can trade. It's just a matter of what you're going to get rid of. You got to get rid of Rosario in the trade anyway. So Smith and Rosario, that's a two good young players, man.
We're up against time because there's other things going on after this, such as Stump You Out. But I see a lot. I'm just saying that for us because I see a lot of people out there, such as Michael and other people who have questions. Normally, we try to get to all your questions. Sorry, guys. Last week we did talk about Arenado. Go watch last week's show.
Yeah, watch that. Yeah. We'll still take him. I know he's got the home road splits, but if you wouldn't take the road splits, even. Unless you got a Hall of Famer at third base, But this guy's a vacuum at third base, and I would still take the road split. He's hit between 16 and 22 home runs for the last 5-6 years on the road.
So
he's fantastic.
His glove, 25 to 30, a 270 average. I'll take it all day long.
Give it to me, baby.
All right. That glove will save you more runs than other bats will make.
Exactly, and we do need to consider runs saved here, and I think that helps with. I think he would help. I think Lindor would help. I think Arenado would help. I think Springer would help. So, and I do think that our new catcher helps.
Every all-star out there.
Yeah.
Sure.
And just thinking defensively.
Arenado on the.
All right. So on that note, we are going to head out for tonight. This our final show of the year. 2020 turns to next week, 2021, and we'll see what happens from there. But I do want to, as always, kind of go out and go around the virtual room here. Any final thoughts? We'll start with Keith.
Happy New Year, guys. Be safe. Depends on what part of the country you're in. If you happen to drive and drink, AAA will tow you for free. I think they'll tow you back home for free. There's lots of free service to drive home. Don't drink and drive. If you want to kill yourself, that's one thing, but don't kill other people, and don't kill yourself either, for that matter. But I'm just saying, if you're gonna make a poor decision, don't bring.
No, I know.
Yeah, it's just what I'm getting at. Yeah. There's other means. Don't hurt yourself. Be safe.
He means well.
And I got news for you. January 1st is going to be the same mess as December 31st with this coronavirus. Wear your mask. Be safe. Love you all. Let's go Mets.
Rodriguez, what you got?
Listen, 2020 sucks. It has sucked. It sucks. It'll be done and over with. You'll get a whole mind refresh. Give yourself a freaking lobotomy. 2021, the New Year's coming up. Do something. Forget about 2020. It's over. Happy New Year. Take care of yourselves. Wear your mask. Enjoy life. Let's go Mets. Brian Home sucks. Farachi, we hate you. Have a good day.
Just can I add one more quick thing? If
you're unhappy, I love you too.
If you're unhappy by getting $600,
Lady Birders,
the Put in the Books team will take that money for you and we'll put it to good use. Let us know, inbox us, and you can get from the list to us.
Yeah, we'll send us the money. We'll send it. We'll transfer it along to the Mets.
Yeah,
we'll add to unemployed people who can't get jobs anymore.
No. We'll sign Springer to $110 million and
we'll put
$600. All right.
I think he's a coward. I'm getting a coward feeling from Springer. I'm getting a coward. I'm getting a bougie Connecticut. Hey, I don't play in New York.
If somebody's going to overpay, let him. I mean, it's down to us in Toronto. That tells you all that you need to know about this year's market.
If he goes to Toronto,
we hate him.
He's a punk.
I think somebody needs to be in the other room while they're doing negotiations with Sandy or Porter, and then bang a garbage can 3 times for a curveball.
All right. So my final thoughts. Yeah, 2020 sucked. I'm going to take a little bit from each of you. 2021 is not going to start off much better, but just cleanse yourself. Just think rationally, guys. Don't drink and drive New Year's Eve tomorrow night. Abide by the curfews. There's curfews out there. It's for a reason. I don't care what you say, what you think. Do the right thing. And then by doing the right thing, you will survive long enough to see the Mets win the World Series in 2021. If that isn't incentive enough, I don't know what is. So on that note, for all you Giants fans out there, 7:15 on the Pop Culture Pros Network or the We Stomped You Out group on Facebook. We will be live in about 11 minutes. Special thanks to Keith, Rodriguez, producer Joe for a great year. Fantastic. As much as it sucked, it just felt better coming on here talking Mets from the get-go. So
Happy
cheers to you folks. Happy New Year.
Producer Joe, come on and have a cheer with us.
Cheers.
Can he do it? No, he can't.
He's not going to do it.
There he is.
Hey, cheers. Hey, we had Ruger first. Hey, there he is. Cheers. Appreciate you all. So we'll talk to you in about 10 minutes on the Giant Show. If not, we'll talk to you next year. Perfect dad jokes right there. See you guys later. Peace.
Perfect.
Happy New Year, folks.